Laura from Madison Public Library. Today we are in the picture books room and this will be DaVinci's workshop for grades 6 to 12, and we will be making some mini exploding volcanoes which will feature a baking soda and vinegar experiment. In your craft kits you'll find your instruction sheet. Then you'll have a small plate. Yours will be smaller than this and they'll have an American flag design on them. Then you'll have a small container of baking soda and then a bigger container of vinegar that's dyed with some orange food coloring. And then you'll have clay in 3 different colors, green, red, and brown. And you'll have a little pipette. So the first step is to take all of your clay out of the bag and then pick up your green clay, and we're just gonna have to squish it around in our hands to get it warm, and this will take a little while since it is really hard, so just take some time to do this. So once your green clay is warmed up, you can flatten it out as best as you can, and then you'll just stick it down onto the surface of your plate and press it down. Okay, so you guys will just have to spend a few minutes flattening down your green clay and pressing it onto the plate, and you just want to have a decent sized circle so that a little volcano about this size can fit on top of it. And this will be our little green grass or the land that our volcano is situated on. So I'm going to finish putting my green clay down on this plate and I will be right back. I finished putting down my green clay on the plate. Yours might end up filling up your whole plate since it's smaller than this one, and it just has to look something like this. It can look like a general circle shape. And now this is probably going to be the most time-consuming part because this clay is way harder than the green clay. You're going to have to break it up into smaller pieces. You might need a parent's help for this. You'll have to spend a few long minutes squishing up the brown clay to warm it up. And then we will be making our volcano shape. If you want, you can start layering up your volcano. You can just put down some of your brown clay in the middle to start forming a base for our volcano. Now I'm going to roll this around in my hands for a very long time, and then I'll be back to create our volcano. Okay guys, I just spent a long time trying to do this because the clay was very hard. So what I did, as you saw earlier, I put a little piece of clay down. I flattened it out so that it looked a bit like a pebble. Then I put it down in the middle, and then I just had to take little pieces of the brown clay and then I just turned them into more pebble-like shapes, and I just spent a whole bunch of time layering them up on the sides, making sure to leave a big space in the middle. And it will take you a while to do this, and it is pretty fun though, sculpting it. You just want to try your best to make it look like a volcano. And so I am going to finish this up, and then we can add our lava onto it. I finally finished my volcano. So here it is. And it basically just looks like a whole bunch of rocks stacked up together. So now, once you've done this, you want to go around and look to see if there are any holes in it, if you can see through the middle. And you just want to try to cover those holes up with the clay. So now that my volcano is done, it's time to take the red clay, and you're just going to take small pieces of it and roll it up in your hands like this. So it looks something like this, and just keep working at it until it's really thin. Something like that. Then you can just go ahead and add it onto your volcano wherever you want it to look like lava is coming out. So just be creative with this. You can have it look like it's falling all the way down the volcano. All right, so now I've finished putting on my lava. You can just have a lot of fun with that part. And this is the final product. Okay, we are ready to do our experiment now. I will do a close-up view for this one. Okay, so now we've got our close-up view. So the first thing, you're going to take the top off of your baking soda. You'll probably want to use a spoon. So I'm just going to squeeze my cup and pour some into the center of the volcano, trying to be careful so that doesn't happen, but oh well. Now you might want to have your volcano near the sink just in case, or maybe put it in the sink. Now you can take your pipette and stick it in your vinegar and squeeze up a bunch of it. And now we are about to see what happens when baking soda and vinegar mix. And just squeeze it all into your volcano. Now, unfortunately, there was a hole in the back, so some of it came out that way, but that isn't really a big deal. So you can keep using your pipette to put the vinegar in the volcano. You'll just watch it fizz up. And if that isn't exciting enough for you, you can just take your vinegar and just pour it out of the cup into the volcano. I will try to turn this so we can see a little more of what's going on inside. And here we go. Woo! So that is much more exciting than using the pipette. And you can just do that until all your vinegar is gone. You can just do it a bunch of times. Just do it a few more times. Ooh. Okay, one more time. I'll use up the rest of my vinegar. And thanks to the orange food dye in the vinegar, it totally looks like it's floating on an island surrounded by lava. And now that our experiment is complete, we can talk a little bit about why this reaction happened. And once again, in your email for this activity, I'll include a bunch of links so you can learn about volcanoes and how they erupt. And I've got some books here about that. And then I'll also include more about baking soda and vinegar and how they interact and what happens. So baking soda is a basic compound called sodium bicarbonate, and it's a base. So it's on one side of the spectrum of compounds, and then vinegar is an acid. So that's on the opposite end of the spectrum. So this contains acidic acid. So the first thing that happens is the acid-base reaction. So when vinegar and baking soda mix initially, the hydrogen ions in the vinegar react with the sodium bicarbonate ions in the baking soda. So the initial reaction between baking soda and vinegar creates two new chemicals, and that's carbonic acid and sodium acetate. So the carbonic acid that was created immediately starts turning into carbon dioxide, and that's the bubbles that we see. So it immediately starts bubbling up as the second part of our chemical reaction, and that's what we see in action in our volcanoes. And as bubbles tend to do, they have to rise up because it's just air stuck in the mixture. It just rises up, bubbles up, and we get this as the reaction. So I hope you enjoyed this activity. Once you are done with your experiment, you can dump out the vinegar in the sink. And so as long as you rinse the baking soda out of your volcano and rinse the vinegar off of it, then you should be able to reuse your volcano as many times as you want, or you can turn it into something else. The clay doesn't harden or anything, so you don't have to worry about that. And once again, I'm Miss Laura, and I hope you had fun with this week's DaVinci's workshop, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.